Welcome back. It's Jenny Gaston, licensed professional counselor of 15 years, and this is our series called Rest With Me. And so get in a comfy seat, get on your bed. We're just gonna chill and relax, okay? Many times we're on the go and we rarely take breaks. And so this is your time to just inhale, hold for 2, and release. Let's do another inhale. Let's bring the shoulders up and back. Yes. And today we're going to talk about how to co-parent with an ex that has a toxic dynamic, okay? Sometimes it's not all about your ex. Sometimes a little of the toxicity is you. You have a history together. You trigger each other. It's like walking and there's landmines everywhere. It can be especially challenging if your ex has narcissistic traits. You know, I rarely want to call someone a narcissist because it's a word that's overused, and to be honest, we all can be self-centered from time to time, okay? But everything is a spectrum, whether it's autism, depression, and some people may have a few narcissistic traits, and some you might be like, wow, textbook definition, boom, 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 boom. And so it can be really challenging to co-parent with someone that have these traits. And so I definitely want to give you some really helpful tools that can empower you. Number 1 is to utilize the gray rock technique, okay? This is a technique where, you say as less as possible. It's like the more that you say, the more that can be used against you. You really show minimum emotion and you stay on topic. Many times when you have a toxic ex, they will try to pick a fight with you. You have to stay focused. And so with this, you kind of change the subject. Let's just say you want to spend more time with the kids and you express that with your toxic ex who's just really petty. If they have narcissistic traits, they will actually try to prevent you from reaching that goal, And so, again, you don't show your hand. If you're playing a game of chess and you think you're playing a game of checkers, you're always going to feel like you're losing. Number 2, you want to perhaps utilize a parenting app. I recommend AppClose because it's free. You can schedule events on a calendar that's shared, and you can share this app with a third party. So let's say if you have you remarried and you want to share it with your spouse who's a step parent to your kids, all of you guys can have access to this. So it could be like a group chat, and it is actually really great if you ever have to go to court. You can pull the documents because it's designed for that. All right, let's knock on wood that doesn't happen. Oh, this is actually not wood for me. All right. Number 3, utilize your support system. It could be getting therapy for yourself to make sure that you place really good boundaries, or therapy for the kids because it's a lot for them to transition. It still takes a village to raise a child. And so school counselors, coaches, you don't have to give them all the deets, but let them know like, hey, we're going through this challenging season, so and so may need extra support. And I think that's wonderful. Number 4, pick your battles. Pick your battles, especially if your ex is someone that like to pick fights and create fights. It's just like, what? Focus on what's important. The things that are not important, let go. And with parallel parenting, what happens in your house stays in your house. What happened in their house stays in their house. So you don't dictate how your ex should raise your joint kids, or vice versa. Only if there's an emergency situation, of course, you want to communicate that. But it's pretty much what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Number 5, and I kind of mentioned this before, but set strong boundaries. You want to already consider the things that you will and won't tolerate, and then you got to stick to it. Yes. For my folks out there that are people pleasers, you know who you are in the back. You got to stick to it. At the end of the day, we teach people how to treat us based on what we allow. So stick to your boundaries. And I'm going to give you an example of a boundary. Let's just say if you're using the app to communicate and message each other, you may want to prevent long messages, right, from going through. Nobody wants to read a novel. I don't know about you, not on my phone. And so You might say, hey, if you need to send me something that's 3 or more sentences, please send an email. Please do not call me unless it's urgent, because perhaps hearing your ex voice is triggering. Okay, and so consider these examples. Number 6, you want to document everything, whether it's agreements that is made, just have, let's just sign on it, okay? Or events that happen, or accidents that happen. Document everything just in case you have to go to court. We definitely want to avoid that, but you never know when situations or arguments and disagreements will arise. Number 7, this is so important, and perhaps I should have moved this to number 1, but maintain your focus on the child or children. Sometimes adults have egos, they get petty, it's all about, oh, this is not fair versus that, and they lose the focus on the child. What's best for this child? Can we work as a team to support this child or children? In addition to that, make sure not to speak negatively in front of the child about the other parent. I don't care how upset you are. This is very, very important, because what can occur is a concept known as splitting. Okay, children know that half of them is mom and half of them is dad, and when you talk about the other parent, that other parent is a reflection of them. And so if you're saying, I hate so and so, they're horrible, that child will internalize that and say, wow, I'm kind of like that parent, or I look like that parent, I have some of the similar mannerisms, or etc., and feel like you must kind of hate me too. They will draw those conclusions. And so definitely research splitting, how that occurs. Many times when there's conflict between biological parents, kids feel the pressure to choose sides. Even if you tell them not to, they still do. And they can't, because they love you both. And so that leads to splitting, where they start to internalize that chaos and turn inward, right? That can lead to depression and suicidal ideation. Number 8, for you parents, you need to prioritize self-care. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And so don't underestimate the power of rest, nutrition, and movement. Those 3. Then you can add the other stuff, right? Yeah, if you're like, yeah, I'm gonna add all these extracurricular activities for self-care, but you don't have sleep, nutrition, and movement, I'll say slow down, let's get back to the basics, and then add some more layers of self-care. Number 9, education. Education is key, whether it's support groups, perhaps co-parenting courses, or parenting classes. I actually recommend that in all stages, because you may be good at taking care of a toddler, but not a tween and teenager. It's a whole different set of skill sets, especially when they're asserting themselves. Yes, and so you want to constantly stay abreast on what works and how you can challenge your kids, but give them that autonomy, which can be tough. Number 10, last but not least, stay consistent for those kids. Stay consistent. And what I mean is keep a consistent routine. Okay? Kids thrive in structure. When there is chaos, and they don't know when they're going to bed, when they're eating, guess what? It mentally impacts them in a negative way. Yeah, I'm not saying that you have to be like a tyrant. Okay, there is a difference, but give kids a structured routine, age appropriate chores. They love routine. Even though they complain about it, they know what to expect when they're with you, and that makes them feel safe. And so don't worry about what the other parents do. You might say, well, my ex, is not doing that, and you don't have control over that. But what you can do is remain consistent and give them the tools to thrive. And so I hope this video helped you. If it did, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on what you're going to take away. Also, if you'd like for me to talk about another topic, you can comment on that as well. Or you can reach out to me. In the description, I will place my information so you can email me, check my website, and etc. And so, hang in there. Parenting is not easy. Take things one day at a time. And don't expect perfection, because perfection does not live here. Much love.